Hi, everybody. Just want to welcome you back to the 23-24 school year with the Surrey Schools Mental Health and Wellness channel. We've taken it off. We changed the name from Mental Health 40 to just channel because some of our episodes will be 30 minutes, some will be 20, some will be 40. So we want to make sure that we don't confuse anybody who's watching saying, oh, it's definitely a 40-minute thing. Today, on the shared traditional territories of the Katsi Semiahmoo, Coast Salish, and Kwantlen First Nations, where the Surrey School District proudly serves the students and families. We are so happy to have our partner, where we're also broadcasting on the Stigma Free Society's website, on their Facebook page, on their YouTube channel, like we typically did all of last year. We co-broadcast with our partner. Also, I think Andrea, provincial partner now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. Been a provincial
Provincial
partner for a few years,
your
for sure.
provincial partner for a few years, with our district partner and provincial partner, and we have Andrew Paquette, the president. I think on my intro write up said CEO. Same thing. You're still the boss, right? The president, CEO of the Stigma Free Society, and I really want to. I fandangled her into coming on an interview with me, even though she, I think, just did an interview with somebody else yesterday, and she interviewed somebody on her channel yesterday. I really want to interview her today to talk about the resources that the Stigma Free Society has. And they've revamped their website, or not revamped, they've added things and made it a lot better. I guess that's a revamp, right?
It
And
was a
they've just
total
done
revamp. Oh,
total
yeah.
revamp. Total
Yeah.
revamp of their website where they have great resources for students and families, but also for those of you who are teachers, either watching now or watching later, great teacher resources as well. So, I do want to just talk a little bit. I said to Andrea to sort of reintroduce yourself a little bit because a lot of people might not know the person behind the Stigma Free Society. The Stigma Free. I think we were walking through our district building, and my director Selma Smith. So shouting out to Selma Smith, who says I never shout out to her on YouTube, right? My director of instruction, Selma Smith, she said, "Hey Daniel, you're with Andrea. She's famous." And I said, "Oh yeah, she is. The Stigma Free Society has done such outstanding work in the province and across Canada, really. So I think it'd be great just to get a brief intro for those teachers and staff and parents who don't know you, who are watching either now or later. Maybe introduce yourself just a little bit so people know the person behind the greatness that
Yeah.
is the Stigma Free Society and all the wonderful work you do."
Sure. So I'd really love to share my personal story just a little bit. I think that gives people a really good context for the
Absolutely.
history of the Stigma Free Society, which was originally the Bipolar Disorder Society of BC back in 2010. And then we decided we want to make it a bigger vision and to have our programs and conversations around various stigmas, but because of our history with a focus on mental health generally. So for myself, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 25 years old back in 2005. And it was a very tragic time for me. I barely made it through, and it became my mission after 4 years of healing to create a charity that would make a difference, that would be able to provide tools and resources for young people, for families, and for educators, school counselors, especially because they are the ones who are helping the youth in the schools. If we're going to get to the youth, then it's really important we go in through the schools.
That's amazing, and you know, I know you as a friend, and I know you have such a high skill set. What prompted you though, just for years, just because it's not easy to start a charity. It's not easy to go and fundraise constantly, and what motivates you to just continue on in this work, day after day? It's not easy
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I just started in 2009, actually, under the, you can see this Bipolar Babe brand
Yeah,
right
I
there,
love it. I still
Bipolar Babe
remember.
up
Yeah,
on the wall.
yeah.
So that's really how it all began with the advocacy. It was sharing my personal story. And when I walked into a classroom with 15 students in Victoria, the first time I ever spoke about my story to young people, many came up to me after and they thanked me for being vulnerable and for showing up for them. And that's when I knew that this was my life's mission. This wasn't just something that I would do once in a while as a hobby, but I wanted to make it my career because I fell in love with sharing about mental health and being able to make a difference for other people to share their own personal stories. And it's great because it's Stigma Free Society. We have 23 presenters, as an example, who go into classrooms virtually and share their personal story. So my role has really elevated, into being president of the society, lots of fundraising, like you said, all of those things. But my heart is always in program, to be very honest,
Yeah, amazing.
and just being with, yeah, just being with the young people as much as possible in this role as well.
Okay, yeah, and we will get to those virtual presentations, but I know that the genesis of our history together in the district was you offering that to schools, and just the palpable change. At those times, some of them were in person, and they grew to being virtual over the pandemic, and still very effective even now. Even though there's still we're still dealing with COVID, but it's a different world out there now, and we can do in person things. I still think a lot of teachers are signing up for and benefiting from the virtual.
Mhm.
Can you just, before we get to the website, talk about
Yeah.
those presentations? And you just showed me a list today of all the different schools and teachers that are engaging with you. Just if each of those engagements is a different school, that's almost 60% of our district engaging with you right now,
Yeah.
right? Can you talk a little bit
Wow.
about that?
Yeah. So it was really interesting. I wanted to see the impact that we are having in the Surrey School District, particularly. And we track, whatever you want to call it, every single school that signs up for full access to our toolkit. And it doesn't count people who are using the public site. So there's probably even more. It was
Absolutely.
really wonderful to see over 70 educators or school counselors sign up for the Student Mental Health Toolkit full access at no cost. And as well, we just had in the last 2 weeks, reaching 700 students signed up
Amazing.
for our virtual presentations for Stigma Free Society. I couldn't
Amazing.
believe it. I was so happy.
To watch them or to make them?
Well, this is our offering as part of our Stigma Free School
Okay.
program, the
Okay.
virtual presentations.
So they
And I'll
signed up to
want me to
watch
share
them?
a little bit about that?
Yeah, and then we can get to the website for sure.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. So the virtual presentations are 45 minutes long, where two presenters come into the classroom virtually. One shares about mental health literacy through a very engaging and colorful booklet and talks about stigma, mental health, tips for taking care of yourself, and the importance of reaching out for help. And then a personal story presenter shares their story about struggle, and then also really focusing on triumph and how people have overcome their challenges. So it could be various stories. We have people who talk about depression. We also have people who talk about learning differences. And there are so many different stigmas that people face, but the intersecting link between stigmas is mental health. It affects our
Mhm.
mental health.
Mhm.
And so with these presentations, we've had rave reviews from educators and students alike. We're
Yeah.
always enhancing and evaluating our program. But this is a real amazing offering that we want to get out there and expand as much as possible for this school year.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to it. Let's get to the website, and the revamped, retooled, redesigned website. And why don't you just give us a tour of that? Because that's really, I think those who are watching either now or later want to say, okay, we want to use these tools, but how do we find them? How do we get them? What are they?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of time now for people to do that level of research. So we're gonna do it for them. We're gonna give them a bit of a tour now that they can go back to and watch and have that understanding. So go for it.
Okay, perfect. So to find out more about Stigma Free Society, you simply come to stigmafreesociety.com. You can find out information about who we are. Our vision is truly a world where people are accepting and understanding of each other, and we provide pathways to change with leadership and fostering awareness of stigma. We have our board of directors and our team, and if you want to find out who our presenters are and just more information about Stigma Free, but what I really want to focus on today is our Stigma Free School Program Suite. And this website has been redesigned to reflect the current offerings that we have at the Stigma Free Society. So we offer the Student Mental Health Toolkit, which is an amazing resource. And I'll share that in a little bit too, Daniel, I think just very briefly, as that's our flagship component of our program.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Our virtual stigma-free presentations, which I just talked about. We also offer professional development day sessions for educators and school staff. We just launched the Educators Peer Support Fundamentals training so that educators can learn peer support skills to support their students, but also their fellow coworkers. And we've also launched very recently stigma free clubs, which are created for students by students, where in these clubs at various schools, students can take action. They can enact stigma free activities, work with the stigma free society, and create that culture of understanding, awareness, and acceptance in schools themselves.
Amazing. Now,
So,
just before we go into the two parts we're
yeah.
going to focus on, the stigma-free clubs. As a former high school teacher, I'd be interested in that. So, do you folks like send? I remember you used to send stickers and things like that, and materials to staff who have asked your presenters to go in. Do you, for the stigma-free clubs, I mean, they work with you, but do you send the materials to do like to run the club?
Yeah. So what's really interesting is the big design of the clubs is coming in the next 2 months with our new program manager. And what we're going to create is a welcome package that will include stickers. It will include t-shirts. And we're just really excited to be able to work with young people to give them the tools they need to get started and create that brand awareness. We'll even provide banners. So we're raising funds right now for that program. And we have a successful pilot that is at Queen Margaret's School, private school in Duncan, and they've been running a stigma-free club that has 25 students for 3 years, and they are really doing an amazing job. So I just want to show you when you come to stigma-free clubs as an example, empowering students to eliminate stigma. You can watch this video from Queen Margaret's School from their stigma-free club, and the goal is to replicate the model of what they do because this is created by students. So they have
Amazing,
peer support with each other, education and awareness. They do presentations in their schools about mental health or stigma, community
amazing.
engagement, skills development, and creating that stigma-free environment.
It's so great.
Mm.
That's fantastic. I love to one day see these clubs in all of the Surrey schools, both elementary and secondary. That'd be fantastic. You know what? Let's go back to what you wanted to share about the programs for staff. And I suspect
Yeah.
the Pro Ds are virtual, correct? Like most of your supports
Yes.
are virtual. But again, a lot of people are enjoying that, especially in our again post pandemic shutdown world. You know,
Mhm.
virtual is great, and people really like that. Do you find that the engagement virtually, the ones that you've done, is similar to when you engaged in person? Because we've seen you talk in person, you've done Pro Ds in person. Do you find that it's still just as good? I suspect the answer will be yes, but I'd like to hear the answer anyways.
Well, I think it's different. They both have high quality, I would really suspect in my opinion. I wanna obviously support our programming, but doing, like, as an example, a professional development day session, doing this online, we are a 100% remote organization. The pandemic, gave us an opportunity to be able to reach more people no matter of their geography. And so this is really great for the North, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
we just know that a lot of people don't go into classrooms in person in Fort St. John or in Prince George. Like it just doesn't happen because of limited
Mm,
resources. It's different in
mhm.
urban areas. And so what we are able to do is I can share the website when people are on the computer and watching things virtually.
Mhm.
I can show them the student mental health toolkit, give them a tour of our actual resource.
Yeah.
It's not just about offering a talking head, but it is truly about engaging with those online that want to learn more. And so that's really what the whole goal is.
Amazing. Okay, well, let's continue
Yeah.
with the tour. Show us, the Pro
Yeah.
D and the teacher resources as well, some stuff for students as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, this is for the professional development day sessions for educators and school staff. We know that there's Pro D days that are scheduled throughout the year for various districts. And so, we have many times hosted sessions for school staff, educators, EAs, etc. And so, what we offer is an opportunity to explore the Student Mental Health Toolkit and as well watch a live demonstration of a personal story from one of our stigma free presenters. We find that personal stories is truly what people connect with, especially young people. And so we want to give the educators an opportunity to see the program in action, to give them a taste of what it's like to have a presenter come into their classroom. And we also talk about the new toolkit sections and updates for the student mental health toolkit. We have a Q&A, and then we teach people how to sign up for full access to the toolkit at no cost. We at Stigma Free Society are committed to making our resources accessible, and that is for everybody. Okay.
If there were more people around me, you'd hear more than just me clapping. So that's
Mm.
amazing because that's the one thing I think for me it's in my heart that we want barrier free supports, right? It's not just speaking as a public school district and and resources being scarce, but it's
Mm,
more like what is the access point? How can we help
mm.
families be able to overcome and even prevent mental health issues,
Yeah,
right? How do we
yeah,
keep people's mental health healthy, right?
yeah.
And when there are financial barriers like, hey, pay $30 for this or $80 for that or $100 for this. Well, some families in our current world can't afford it, right? It
Yes,
becomes a
exactly.
right, and so
Yeah,
having this barrier free, financially unburdensome support is fantastic. So
thank
applause
you.
to you for committing to that.
Well, I have to thank our donors because our donors, we have about 30 every year that support us in our efforts and our programs. And without our generous donors, we would not be able to offer the programs that we do.
All right, so let's continue with
Okay.
the tour. Sorry, I interrupted that with a bunch of
Okay.
applause. So yeah,
All good. So, the component I'd like to share now is the Student Mental Health Toolkit. As I mentioned, this is definitely one of our flagship programs, our amazing. I just love this part of the program. I find that it is very robust and I'd have to say the most popular aside from, well, it's pretty equal to the virtual presentations. So the Student Mental Health Toolkit, I'll take you in a minute just to see it and give you a quick little tour. But first, to share what it includes, mental wellness lesson plans. So curriculum that can be integrated into the school curriculum very easily. And that's for grades 4 to 7 and 8 to 12. That is aligned with British Columbia. And we also have Manitoba school curriculum as well. So we're expanding
amazing,
more across Canada. We have
fantastic,
our downloadable resources, digestible information about stigma, such as an example, how to help a friend, how do I deal with grief. So, psychosocial rehabilitation type focus and mental health literacy and section devoted to diverse ability and inclusion. There is a lot of stigma within that community, engaging activities, and so much more. And
amazing,
so to visit the toolkit, you can just go to studentmentalhealthtoolkit.com or you can come to our main website under the programs, which I showed you. And you can sign up for our newsletter here that automatically pops up at the Student Mental Health Toolkit. So, as you can see here, our main audiences so teachers, school counselors, parents, guardians, and youth themselves. And Daniel, you did mention parents and families because obviously they're the front line. They're the first people who are helping their children with their mental health and they're talking to teachers and school counselors and those are the support systems that we want to reach and give them the information they need to ensure that their young person gets the help that they require.
it's
So
fantastic. And are you seeing a lot of uptick with that now that you've had the site and put it up there? You said it's the second most popular. Are you seeing any questions about that? Like, are students reaching back out to you after they use the toolkit or have access to it? They're saying, "Oh, we need more," or "We want more support."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because the toolkit is mainly accessed first by educators, next
okay,
by mental health professionals, and then the next cohort after that is school counselors and parents. And very
yeah.
few youth actually use the toolkit
Okay,
because
so
it's
it's oh,
more,
so a student
yeah,
toolkit for educators. Do you
yeah.
see a lot of uptick in people like contacting you for more? Then maybe that's a better
Oh,
question.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. There's been a lot of endorsements. We have a lot of support letters that we
amazing.
provide with our, our
I think
donor
I've done one.
reports.
I think I've done one on
Yes, you
video.
have.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the Student Mental Health Toolkit. I'll
Yeah.
just briefly show you this and then we can come back to the StreamYard.
Yeah.
And here you can watch a welcome message from yours truly.
Okay.
And to gain full access to the toolkit at no cost, we just ask people to sign up for full access for the reason that we can see who is signing up, where are they from, what school district, and it's a good way for us to track our analytics and to connect with people on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I do want to also see the teacher Pro D stuff because when you were showing that to us when you were visiting our office, I thought, wow, what an opportunity, right? It's not just the student
Yeah.
toolkit and the curriculum which teachers can use and that who love it. Again, we have many educators signed up. If those 70, 73, 75, eventually 80, 100 teachers represents each of them a school in Surrey, well then like there's only 125, well not only, but there's 125, 128 schools in Surrey, right? And
Yeah.
more to come, but you're capturing quite a few of the schools in Surrey, right? Um,
Yeah.
but there is Teacher Pro D, and I think in our current environment also, where I think there's more and more placed on the teacher. Not only are teachers and administrators and student support workers concerned about the academics and the lessons of life, right? But they're also now considering and having to consider, okay, how is the mental health of the student in my class? What is the
Yes.
family situation, right? We ask our staff to build relation and be relational with individual students to get to know their class. But when
Right.
the danger of getting to know your class, having been a teacher, is that oh now I have this level of care and concern for
Mm.
these kids and these families. I've always believed that teachers, educators, support workers, administrators need to constantly refuel our own toolbox before we can help other
Yes.
people, both for our own wellness, and I talk about that quite a bit. Our own wellness is really important, but also learning how to do it better, right? I may
Yes.
be a great English teacher, great math teacher, great geography teacher, great PE teacher, great cooking teacher, great mechanics teacher, but I may not be great at assessing out if
Self-care.
yes. So, well, self-care, but also sussing out whether a
Yeah.
student or family is struggling. I may not know because they
Right.
might put on a happy face, right? How
Yeah.
can I know? So, I would love for you to show that Pro D side of things because I think teachers want that more. There's a hunger and thirst for it now, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, with the Pro D sessions, Daniel, they're not about providing mental health information for teachers. It's more about sharing our resources
Okay.
that they can share with students. But there is one section of the Student Mental Health Toolkit
Okay.
that is specifically for the mental health of school staff, which
Oh,
is
amazing.
available for all teachers. And then I'll scroll down and show you that.
Yeah.
But to learn more in detail about who our presenters are, the structure and format of the virtual stigma free presentations, this is when it was in person. That's
Yeah.
me at Salt Spring
Amazing.
Secondary. There's a few schools of 600 students. I miss those days, but at the same time, now I can reach even more people and our
Yeah.
staff as well.
Yeah.
And this is where you can find the downloadable resources and lesson plans that I mentioned. We have our coping with mental health section with we have comic books, we have activities, we have
Mm.
animations, various ways that various students learn, as well diversibility, disability, and inclusion, and student activities at home or in the classroom, and our live wellness events like this
Yeah.
one and the Stigma Free Live that we have running right now as well. And we mentioned parents, guardians, and caregivers. So this section is really to help parents guardians and caregivers talk to their young people about mental health and
Yeah.
also how to get them help, which is
Yeah.
vital, vital.
Vital. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
And there's inspiring stories where anyone can submit a 2 to 3 minute, even 4 minute video talking about their
Wow.
own personal journey, whatever that looks like, and how they take care of their mental health. So that we have submissions from the public, people who are engaging and are even housed on our toolkit.
Well, it's a
And
great
here we
you're
have,
building a community. You're almost building a community of
yeah,
mental health support, right? This is amazing.
for sure. And then the mental health for school staff, I'll go into this one since you seem very interested in it.
Very, yes.
So we have our tips for school staff mental health. First is a animation here and a printable version that people can print off. We have how to create a work-life balance for school staff brochure,
Amazing.
and you just simply,
Look,
right?
he makes a
Why is
sound.
it necessary?
He
Yeah.
makes a page turn sound. Fantastic.
And then you can download the PDF or listen to it in audio.
Wow.
Yeah, so well-being in the workplace resources, re-entry anxiety, which has been a big issue for a lot
Mm.
of school staff,
Mhm.
connectiveness and belonging in the workplace, and the impact of burnout and ways to overcome it, self-care tools, mindfulness beyond meditation, trauma, maintaining passion in your work and motivation, as well after work decompression routine, which is a really great tool, and talking about the decline in educators' well-being and why that happens. We're also partnered with Dr. Shimi Kang,
Mhm.
provides a lot of information behind the science of mental well-being, relationships, leadership, and how to seek better health. So Dr. Kang is a very proud supporter of Stigma-Free Society, and
Dr.
she
King's
is
amazing.
also, yeah, the head of Dolphin Kids now called Future Ready Minds. So I think that is where I will stop sharing,
Okay.
but just to go back once, to finish the toolkit is just simply to say we have a stigma-free glossary with language around various communities, LGBTQ, diverse ability, disability, mental health, mental illness. So a glossary is here where we've partnered with other organizations who are experts in the field to create a glossary of terms, which many educators have told us they deeply appreciate. And our toolkit video library, we have a Stories of Stigma docu-series that is featured on the TELUS Healthy Living Network currently. So if people want to check it out on TELUS, if they have access to that, or they can come straight to our website here. And our helping community resources, we've really expanded this, and now we have a national helping community resources library. And
Amazing.
simply, yeah, and then simply, the rest of the toolkit is about our blogs, and then the rest is social media, and then that's about it, just a feature section on what's new as well. This is not a stale toolkit, it is added
Yeah.
to weekly.
Well, yeah, and having been part of, I remember looking at the previous website and advising on that during
Yeah.
the pandemic, and now we're looking at this website. The previous website was already awesome, and now I think this is even a more fulsome site where you
Mhm.
have something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
When I mentioned, students clicking on it, we do have kids looking for self-help, right? We have kids who are wanting to help each other, and that student club and the support for student clubs and how you've laid that out is beautiful. Yeah, your support for staff and teachers, teaching it in the classroom and going through things, even just a little bit at a time. So a little bit of their day could be spent on mental health and wellness, but also finally caring for staff. It is a really important area, something that is a passion for me, because again, if you
Yeah.
can't help yourself, how do you help other people? Right? If you're always just
Exactly.
pouring out and giving, uh,
Yeah.
we we have, as you and I both know, who do these YouTube things on the regular, that 30 minutes pass by is really quick. So in our
Is
last
it ever?
in our last couple minutes, what is your message to the district, to the Surrey School District, to the staff, to the students, to the families, about your toolkit,
Mm,
about the work that you're doing, and about the importance of taking care of your mental health?
yeah. I'd like to say to the parents, the families, and our educators and Surrey youth, we are here for you at Stigma Free Society. We want you to know that we have accessible resources for you at no cost, so you don't have any barriers in getting help. You can reach out to us at any point. We are here to answer questions, provide information, and we are not a crisis based organization, but we do referrals and we never turn anybody away who's in need. So if you'd like to reach out to me personally or anyone at Stigma Free Society, just simply come to stigmafreesociety.com and click on the contact tab. And the message is as well that we should never be ashamed if we are
That's right.
struggling with our mental health.
That's right.
I know what it's like to struggle and to feel alone, thinking that I was alone when really I wasn't, but I just didn't know it in my own heart. So let's remind each other that it's important that we are aware of stigma, we are understanding of each other, and most especially accepting of ourselves and others.
Well, thank you. And with that, I want to thank Andrea Paquette from the Stigma Free Society, the president of the Stigma Free Society, and thank all of you for watching, whether you're watching now or watching later. Our district, our students, our families, and our staff, especially, which this is geared towards, but I know other people watch as well. We care about your mental health, we care about your wellness, and we are here for you as well. And we're glad to be here with you alongside our partner at the Stigma Free Society. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for the 31 minutes you shared with us. If you have any other questions, my name and information is in I think the description of everything that's happened. And if you want to get in touch with Andrea as well, you can email me or text me or call me, and I will definitely pass on her information over to you. But in the meantime, please check out the Stigma Free Society's website. And those of you watching on the Stigma Free Society's Facebook page or YouTube channel, thank you for sharing your space with us once again for the entire year. We are actually going to be reformatting our process a little bit. We do have this kind of interview, but we're also going to do some live interviews as well. I was telling Andrea about that as well. And I said, do you still want to be part of that? She's like, yeah, co-broadcast that as well. So we're going to be doing something live. More information about that is to come. And then what we'll do is we'll edit the live so it'll become a little bit more of a podcast show for those of you who like to watch later rather than watching right after school when you're tired and thirsty and hungry and need to do something else other than watch Daniel Toe and his guest on video. So definitely look for that, and that is coming soon. Thank you so much for sticking with us and watching these YouTube presentations that are actually made for you so that you can be fulfilled in the work that you do in the classroom, and families and students so you can be filled in the life that you live. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. And Andrea, thank you once again for being our
Thank
partner.
you.
And congratulations on all the success you're having helping other people, because that, to me, is the greatest success of all.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.